Hi, I'm Landen, Boisvert, and I'm taking Leadership 20. I'm currently working on Lesson 11, Leaders Throughout the Ages. As you can see, these three are my leaders I chose. And since the smartboard isn't working, we're going to have to go to the computer each slide, so don't mind me. So I'm going to start off with Sir John A. Macdonald. He was born in Glasgow, Scotland on January 10th, but his family celebrated it on the 11th. When he was about 5, his family moved to Upper Canada, known as Kingston, Ontario. Then John signed a contract with a Kingston lawyer at the age of 15. By 19, he left that lawyer to start his own legal practice. Eventually, his breakthrough in politics happened in 1843, when he was selected to be the city's alderman. And finally, the year after that, he was elected to be a Conservative representative. On 1867, July 1st, John was elected Prime Minister. That ended on November 5th, 1873. He then was re-elected October 17th, 1878 to June 6th, 1891. Sir John A. Macdonald was the founding father of Canada, and he has our respect for it. He died June 6, 1891, serving as Prime Minister. Major events / accomplishments. Was part of the Confederation movement to unite all maritime provinces throughout the 1860s. Pacific Scandal, where he took election money in exchange for a contract to build the Canadian Pacific Railway, which is extremely significant now. In 1873, creation of the provinces Manitoba, BC, and PEI, and we'll talk about the Manitoba one with Louis Riel, my other leader I selected. The creation of the RCMP in 1873, the Northwest Rebellion. I'll talk more about that with Louis Riel. It was just a battle against the Métis Canadian government. And the national policy in 1879, this called for high tariffs on imported manufactured items to protect the manufacturing industry. Qualities I picked for him was creative, perseverant, and strong mental grasp. For his creative mind, he thought of a lot of policies that would benefit the country, and some of them are still to this day. Perseverance, he showed that when he had a wife and she was slowly dying, I don't know what, but she slowly was dying and eventually died, and he was extremely devastated. And for his perseverance, he showed once he was done serving his first term, he came back and served another 13 years, so that's extremely impressive because most other people would just kind of give up on the first time they got kicked out, kind of. He reminds me of Donald Trump because both of them are like extremely patriotic and will do anything that'll benefit their country. And they both are kind of racist when you think about it, but that's just what was kind of accepted at the time, not so much now for Donald Trump. He didn't like the Métis people, and it kind of seems like Donald Trump doesn't like the Mexicans. It's kind of similar. Those are my sources, and that's just a picture of them. Now I'm on to Louis Riel. He was born in St. Boniface, a Red River settlement in Manitoba. In 1884, October 22nd, he was born. He was a standout student and was immediately identified by the Catholic clergy to be a candidate for priesthood. He was sent to Montreal at the age of 13 to study at a Salesian school, where he also thrived at the top of the class. While studying priesthood, he met a woman, Mary Julie Guerin, who he wanted to marry in secrecy. As most people know, priests cannot marry However, her parents shut him down because of racial atmosphere at the time. Métis weren't favored during this time period. Louis was devastated and moved back to the Red River. Eventually, the HBC, Hudson Bay Company, sold the Rupert Island and the Northwest Territories to the Dominion of Canada. A Métis National Committee was made to protect their culture, community, and Louis Riel was the leader of it. On November 16th, 1885, Louis Riel was executed for treason and was hung in Regina. And at the time, Manitoba was a part of the Northwest Territories, so they thought this was intruding. Major accomplishments: found Manitoba 1870, negotiated Manitoba Act with government, obviously. Sir John A. Macdonald was the Prime Minister at the time too. Elected to the House of Commons 3 times but never took a seat. Leader of the Western battles 1885. There were major battles in the West because of the insecurity of Métis people. This is why it all started, is the government of Canada kind of putting their nose where it shouldn't be. Red River Battle, 1869 to 1870. It was when Rupert's Island was transferred to Canada while Métis people still had the land. This started an uprising and eventually led to the independence of Manitoba. Qualities I picked for him were fearless, determined, and loyal. For fearless, he knew how powerful the Canadian Army was, but he still fought for what was right for him and his people. He was determined in having equal rights for Métis people. He fought for those and he got it. He was loyal. He was loyal towards his people. Even when he started to go downhill, he always kept his people in mind. Especially when he knew he was losing the battle. I find him similar to Barack Obama. Barack was the first African American to become a president, and he really wanted to show the black minority group. Louis was the first Métis person to be asked to have a chair in the Canadian government. And they're just similar, but even though Louis didn't take it, I think that if he did, he would have been extremely beneficial and he would have changed a lot of things. Those are my sources, and that's Louis Riel. Terry Fox, this is my last one. Terry was born in July 28, 1958 in Winnipeg. His family was tired of the harsh Winnipeg winters, so they moved to Vancouver in 1966. During that year, they moved once more, but just 27k out of Vancouver in Port Coquitlam. Fox's favorite sport was basketball and was completely dedicated to it. He was tiny in grade 8 but had sheer dedication and was a hard worker. That's all you need. By grade 10, he was a starter and was the best player on the team by far. By the ending of his schooling, he was recognized by Simon Fraser University and was chosen to be on the team there. In November, he noticed extreme pain in his right knee, which he thought was from a fender bender that he had gotten in recently. Terry then went to the Simon University Healthcare Center and got on painkillers. March came along and the pain came around again, so Terry's family went to a doctor and he suspected something serious. Osteogenic sarcoma, a bone cancer in the knee, where it starts actually. For Terry to live, they needed to amputate it, so on March 7, 1977, he got his right leg amputated while Fox was in chemo. And witnessed others in extreme pain. He was determined to do something about it, and he did. Eventually, Fox died on June 28, 1981 in New Westminster, BC, because of the cancer. Major accomplishments and major events. He was diagnosed with osteogenic sarcoma, had to get leg amputated in 1977. Terry started the Marathon of Hope He wanted to raise $1 for every Canadian to fight cancer. The population in Canada was 24.1 million at the time, and he raised $24.17 million. So his goal was reached. Terry's run motivated people to create the Terry Fox Foundation in 1988, which raised numerous amounts of dollars. And about $750 million have been raised worldwide from the annual Terry Fox run. I picked for his qualities: determination, imaginative, and athletic. Obviously Terry was determined, you could see. He had a prosthetic leg, and every day when he went out to run, he would cut his leg with a prosthetic because it would rub, and he would get cuts, cysts, scabs, but he just kept on going. He had a plan in his mind, and he kept to it. He was imaginative because he found a very intelligent way to raise awareness about cancer and get donations, which was very smart of him. Fox was very athletic before he had cancer, and he was really good at baseball, basketball, and track. Even when he had his leg amputated, he played wheelchair basketball, and he was very good. I compared him to Oscar Pistorius. He is an Olympic runner with no legs at all. He's double amputated. He was the first double amputee runner to compete in the normal Olympics, so that's a huge, huge mark. Sets the 4x100 relay races and 400-meter race records in Paralympics in London. These two look at themselves the same as the average Joe, so they don't have much excuses for themselves. They get the job done. There's my sources, and that's Terry. Now, these guys are all similar, and they got some differences too. I found that all these prolific figures have one thing in common, and it's how to be great leaders. They know what it takes to persevere and get people to contribute to their cause. All of them aren't scared to make a stand, to switch it up if they have to. There are some slight differences between these guys. They all looked at situations a bit differently and approached them. And also being in the different time periods play a different role. That's the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening.